Oh. Okay, let's get it on there. Let's get it on. And I don't even know where to start. This is going to be a very quick chat inspired by the fact that a few hours ago, the President of the United States signed an executive order dismantling the Department of Education. If you have a child, this is particularly frightening because the Department of Education is all about protecting the civil rights of students, ensuring that they have equitable access to public education, which means regardless of their disability, learning disabilities, or physical disabilities, their skin color, their sexual orientation, the background they come from, their income levels. You know, it's one thing to watch women's rights get eroded so brazenly. And I think we've known for a long time that there was an agenda from the right to tackle schools, right? We've seen it in Florida. We've seen it in places like Missouri. It's not new. We've all seen the videos of insane public outbursts at, school board meetings, and how many books are being banned, and the way that children are being taught, a history of the United States that excludes genocide and slavery. None of this is new, right? But I do think that the executive order is a bit frightening. And I'm not a policy expert. I'm not an expert really on any of this. I'm just a normal person who pays attention. And I want to say a couple of things. First, I want to acknowledge that the primary reason that Michael and I moved to Japan, or really just the primary reason we left the United States, was a fear of this sort of thing. Okay? There was a part of us that really wanted to be activists, that wanted to change the world and run for office and, buy 100 acres and have lots of tiny houses on it for us and all of our friends, right? Those were dreams that we had. And then we had kids. And it suddenly became less about what we personally could do to improve the world. And it became more about how do we create children who are resilient against economic and social upheaval, against right-wing authoritarianism, against climate change, who are going to help us get into a better future, right? How do we create that next generation and give them hope? Interstellar is one of my favorite movies because there's that feeling that, am I looking at the last generation that's ever going to walk and breathe on this earth? And, with history's crazy, governments rise and fall, societies rise and fall, empires burn, none of that's new to us as human beings. Neither is migration, right? Leaving when things get hard and in search of better opportunities. What is new is that there's also this ticking clock in the background that, very soon our crops will be failing, that very soon there won't be enough water. And the conflict that will emerge from those things is frightening. And so to take away equitable access to education as guaranteed by a federal government is very threatening. It's a very menacing thing to do. So if you're feeling frustrated and freaked out, I'm with you. And, you probably are considering leaving the U.S. Now, I'm speaking from a place of privilege because I did leave the U.S. long ago. My heart has, severed that connection. Michael and I had family and support systems, and frankly, even houses we could have lived in for free. But it wasn't worth it to us. It wasn't something that we wanted to save. We wanted to build a legacy for ourselves. Looking at my family tree, every generation, it's a new place, a new country. Now the United States, and even then, since my family came to the United States in the 1920s, 1950s, on either side, every time someone's born, they move to a new state. So I come from a family line. My ancestors, they encouraged me to just go start over. That's a very ancestral energy for me to carry. And then for my husband, America was not something he chose. It was chosen for him, right? His ancestors were put on boats and shackled and forced to adopt the Americas and American culture and all of the horrors that's built on. So for us, it was sort of an easy thing of like, no, we're going to go where we are happy, and we're going to raise our children where we're happy, and we're going to make a choice for ourselves. Now for you, let's talk about you. You might be having a feeling to leave, and I think there are a lot of valid reasons that you should. The safety of you and your children, if you are a queer person, if your children are queer, if your children are girls, frankly. They won't be able to access abortions if they are abused, okay? Or if they just have a shitty boyfriend. The lack of sovereignty around food and land and community is all those are all valid reasons. However, I think that for a lot of people, that desire to escape, oh my God, what's happening? I need to get out of here, might be coming from a place of grief that actually wants to do something about it, okay? There is a group of people, a certain percentage of the population, that we need to be like AOC, okay? To be like Jasmine Crockett, to hold truth to power, to be activists, to march, to run for office, to build communities and build businesses, and to grow food and share it with others. There are a lot of risks that come with taking on that mantle. So it takes a very specific kind of person to fight back against those kinds of things. And then there are others who want to do that work more quietly, who want to be part of that Underground Railroad style network that we've seen in American history, where you hold space, where there are whispers, where you take care of people, where you make banned books available, or you teach them in a book club. There's things you can do. And then indeed there are people who should go. I think my best advice to you, if you are I assume you're a pagan or spiritual person watching this, a witchy person if you're watching this, I really want you to sit with your ancestors or your gods or your higher self, however you choose to work, and really assess what it is that you are afraid of is going to happen. I want you to assess the likelihood of, your own safety, personal safety, the safety of your family, the people you love, being harmed. I want you to think about what would happen if you did go. Where would that absence be felt? Are you providing protection for anyone? Financial support, maybe. The original thing I recorded actually was, if you're considering moving to Japan, here's my thoughts on that. I've deleted that because it was 40 minutes, first of all, and second, because I don't think that's the first step. I think the first step is, however it is you're feeling right now, you need to accept that it'll be probably 6 to 12 months before you are putting groceries away in a different refrigerator in a different place. It's going to take some time to get to the other place, whether it's another country, another state, whatever. Maybe just living with different people if you're in a difficult situation. So you have quite a bit of time, but you need to be active about whatever it is you're choosing to do, because I think you're going to keep reacting with stress if you don't do something with this panic and this despair, frankly. So you need to decide, okay, am I going to take steps? Oh, tractor. I live in the countryside of Japan, and it's tractor season. One moment. You need to decide if you're going to spend the next 6 to 12 months doing everything in your power to save as much as you can, to get rid of your possessions, to build up a library of books and media assets that you want to bring with you to that new country who might not speak your language. What is that proactive plan going to be? Or are you going to use that energy to be building community, to start a vegetable garden, to start a banned books club, to create a potluck lunch that meets, every third Sunday of the month for queer people in your community? There are different things you can do. And I think in the context of the Department of Education situation, another thing I just feel really called to put into the world, at risk of crying on camera, is it is so fucking trendy to say that I don't like kids, or kids are so annoying, or kids are really loud, or blah, blah, blah. I'm child-free and love it. I just want to tell you that those kids are the future, and those kids are having their rights threatened right now. It's just taken away, actually, with the Department of Education. Like, kids who are disabled, who will not be able to access public school. Okay? Children are already the most oppressed group in our society. And if you break that down even further into kids who are disabled or brown or poor, you know, it gets really horrific really fast. And if you are someone who prides yourself on language that is very anti-child, whether it's children bug me on planes, or children are so noisy in restaurants, like, shut the fuck up, please. Because it's immature and it's not meeting the moment. So if you really see yourself as a spiritual being, as an empowered magical person, as any sort of activist, as creating any sort of better world, those children need to be part of that. Which leads me to other things that you can do. That potluck lunch should not be a child-free space. Maybe that book club needs a separate room where people's kids can all play together while you talk about the banned books, okay, whatever it might be. I feel so disappointed in how much I'm seeing people talk about the student loan aspect of the Department of Education being dismantled, hoping that means their loans get canceled, and not processing the fact that this is a direct attack on the civil rights, quality of education of the next generation. My grandfather was born in Nazi Germany. And despite living through the horrors of what that meant, he still wrote on application forms, you know, any sort of documents that we found in his house, you know, clubs or organizations that he was part of. He still writes HH. He's dead now. He doesn't write it anymore. But my point is that the indoctrination of children is very powerful. And even after he had moved to the US and shaken off his childhood in Nazi Germany, he still remembered being part of that. So I don't know what is going to come next as far as the quality of schooling in the United States or the prevalence of indoctrination. I won't pretend to know, but I will say your feminism and your leftist politics, your spiritual growth, none of that is intersectional or matters if you're not considering children. I'm not just speaking as a mother. I'm speaking as a kid who grew up. Okay? So, if you're freaked out, please be freaked out. If you're building whatever you're doing with that energy, whether you're going to migrate, very human thing to do, to migrate, to see an empire and fall, and to say, I'm going to go somewhere else and plant my future somewhere else. Valid. If you're going to stay, build community, or fight, please, whichever one you do, think about the kids. And the way that we just saw him sign that order, surrounded by children as props, if that didn't shake you to your core, I don't know what to tell you. I'll be back on Monday with my regular content on self-actualization and world making, through our businesses, our careers, through our sacred work. But I wanted to just take a moment to talk to us about the Department of Education. It is late for you. It is early in the day for me. So I'm going to put this on YouTube and go get myself a croissant. Lots of love. Have a good day. Take care of yourself.